Hello, this is David Wilcoxon, and in this video, I will discuss RFK Jr.'s declaration that we need a man on a white horse now. After being sworn in, RFK Jr. proclaimed, "We need a man on a white horse now. We need someone who is willing to come in and has the spine and the guts and the strength to challenge orthodoxies, to stand in the way of vested interest and break institutions that have turned against our democracy." I've already seen YouTube videos and Facebook posts about Trump riding on a white horse. Here's one from a channel that promotes Trump as the Antichrist. This meme was posted on Facebook about the two horses in Revelation, positioning Trump as the Antichrist, who comes on the white horse in Revelation 6. The false prophet Black Pope and his army do these things to promote their false futuristic prophecy fulfillment explanations, making it seem like Donald Trump may be the supposed one-man Antichrist, which helps deflect blame away from the Antichrist beast popes of Rome. And I cover that topic in The Enemy is Playing Out Their False Script video. The enemy is good at promoting their false futuristic narrative, which assigns most of Revelation to the end times, to hide that most of the prophecies in Revelation have already been fulfilled during the last 1900 years. And there's not much left to happen before Messiah returns on a white horse as described in Revelation 19. Let's start with the fulfillment of the first seal, which took place in the 2nd century. Revelation 1:1 says, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John." It's proclaiming that the prophecies in Revelation would start to be fulfilled shortly after the vision was given to John, which took place around 90 to 95 AD. For preterists who think that the apocalyptic vision was given before 70 AD, I debunked that premise in the Preterist Decoded video series. During this explanation of the fulfillment of the first seal, remember the key words in Revelation 6:2, which says, "And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer." Let's talk about the bow first. I believe that our warrior king included the bow in the first seal description to point specifically to Roman Emperor Nerva, who was a descendant of people from the Isle of Crete who were famous bowmen. At the death of Emperor Domitian, who was a wicked emperor, the Roman Synod appointed an elder statesman named Nerva in his place. Nerva was the first to occupy the throne of Augustus, who was not of Roman descent. He was selected on the merit of his ability. The bow relates to Cretan archers, a well-known class of warriors whose specialist skills were extensively used in ancient and medieval warfare. Alexander the Great used large companies of Cretan archers, and Roman armies used them during Julius Caesar's time. In the Reflections on Nerva's Imperial Coinage section of the Journal of Roman Archaeology, Professor Greg Wolf features this coin showing Emperor Nerva on the front, and he's wearing a laurel wreath crown, and him with a bow on the back side of the coin. So we see that here. So we got the laurel wreath crown, and we have a bow in his hand. Our warrior king uses the bow in Revelation 6:2 to point directly at Emperor Nerva and the 4 emperors who followed him. By that, we see the fulfillment of the bow in Revelation 6:2, as it points to Emperor Nerva, who reigned from 96 to 98 AD, shortly after the Revelation vision was given to John, just as Messiah declared in Revelation 1:1. Emperor Nerva appointed Trajan, who ruled from 98 to 117 AD. Trajan appointed Hadrian, who ruled from 117 to 138. Hadrian appointed Antoninus Pius, who ruled from 138 to 161, and Antoninus Pius appointed Marcus Aurelius, who ruled from 161 to 180. These were known as the 5 good emperors because they brought leadership and prosperity to the empire. Emperor Trajan reestablished Rome as a conquering force and proved his greatness among scholars as perhaps second only to Augustus. Marcus Aurelius continued that pattern while reestablishing military superiority among the bordering Germanic tribes. This was a time of the Roman Empire's greatest expansion and military conquest, which expanded the Roman Empire until it occupied much of the territories of the three preceding empires of Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. By this, we see that it was a time of going forth and conquering, as described in the first seal. White is the color of prosperity, happiness, and triumph. And we'll see that in Revelation 19 when Messiah returns on a white horse, indicating his victory over the enemy, to introduce a time of happiness and triumph. When the Roman Empire had a major military triumph, milk-white horses were used in their victory parades. By this, we see the fulfillment of the white horse in Revelation 6:2. When a great achievement occurred, the emperor wore a garland crown. Roman Emperor Hadrian had a coin struck that featured him wearing a laurel crown on the front. On the back, he's riding a horse to celebrate their military victory. John Wesley's Notes on the Bible, written in the 18th century, provide some great insight. This color, meaning white, and the bow shooting arrows afar off betoken victory, triumph, prosperity, enlargement of the empire, and dominion over many people. Trajan's accession to the empire seems to be the dawning of the seven seals. In the year 108 AD, the already victorious Trajan went forth towards the east to conquer not only Armenia, Assyria, and Mesopotamia, but also the countries beyond the Tigris, carrying the bounds of the Roman Empire to a far greater extent than ever. We find no emperor like him for making conquest. He aimed at nothing else. He only lived to conquer. Meanwhile, in him was eminently fulfilled what had been prophesied, Fourth Empire, Daniel 2:4, that he should devour, tread down, and break in pieces the whole earth. In Vision of the Ages, written in 1881, Barton Johnson says, John was in exile on Patmos in the last year of the reign of Domitian, 96 AD. In that year, the tyrant, Domitian, was slain. The humane Nerva succeeded him upon the Roman throne. With his reign begins a new epoch, at once the most brilliant and most prosperous in Roman history. He was the founder of a new family of Caesars. He adopted as his son and successor the warlike Trajan, and 4 years later, that distinguished warrior and conqueror received the crown. Trajan's reign, beginning some 4 or 5 years after John wrote, constitutes one of the most remarkable eras in Roman history. The mighty kingdom of Parthia, in the heart of Central Asia, which had before successfully hurled back the Roman armies, was laid prostrate at its feet, and Trajan's victorious legions then turned southward until they stood upon the shores of the southern seas. The terror of the Roman name was carried into kingdoms that had never before seen the face of a Roman soldier. While Trajan's greatest conquests were in Asia, in Europe, also he ruled a vaster empire than any Roman, either before or after him. The fierce nations in the dark forests of the vast regions north of the Danube and east of the Rhine, until his time successfully resisted the progress of the Roman arms. But his legions forced the passage of the Danube, and after 5 years' conflicts, conquered the kingdom of Dacia, occupying the regions now marked upon the maps as Hungary and Romania. Trajan was a distinguished general when John wrote. Before John had passed from earth, Trajan had received the diadem, and before a generation had passed, he stood the mightiest conqueror of the Roman name, save Julius Caesar, upon the shores of the Southern Ocean. His age was not only an age of conquest and triumph, fitly symbolized by the white horse and his rider, but an age of internal peace and prosperity. Of this happy period, Trajan, who ascended the throne 4 years after the death of Domitian, is the chief figure. In all Grecian history, The bowmen of their armies are Cretans. The Rhodian slingers, the Thessalian horsemen, the Spartan spearmen, and the Cretan bowmen are constant features of Grecian history. The bow, the national weapon, might signify someone connected with Crete. A remarkable historical fact is illustrated by the bow. Beginning with Julius, the 12 Caesars who ruled the empire in succession were all of pure Roman blood. Domitian, the last of the 12 Caesars, the persecutor of John, was of the Roman stock, but he was the last emperor of an old Roman family that ruled for ages. He was succeeded by Nerva, the founder of a family that furnished 5 Caesars in succession, Trajan being the adopted son and successor of Nerva, as was Hadrian of Trajan, Antoninus of Hadrian, Aurelius of Antoninus. Nerva, the first emperor of this new family, the inaugurator of this epic of Roman history, was not of the Roman blood. Roman historian Aurelius Victor says that Nerva's family came from the Greek island of Crete, or in other words, he was a Cretan. We have already found that the national weapon of the Cretans was the bow, and that they were famous as bowmen in all the ancient armies. The first seal points to a time of temporary prosperity of the Roman Empire, immediately after John wrote down the apocalyptic vision. In the preceding explanation, we see the fulfillment of the bow pointing to Emperor Nerva, and Emperor Trajan conquering nations and wearing a laurel wreath crown while riding white horses in their victory parades. So we see the fulfillment of what Messiah was describing. The first seal may also point to our Savior riding a white horse simultaneously, symbolizing him conquering the pagan Roman Empire, as his ecclesia of saints proclaimed the gospel and expanded his kingdom. Daniel 2:44 foretold that Messiah would set up his kingdom in the days of the fourth beast, in the days of the Roman beast kingdom. And in the days of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. The fact that Messiah had founded a kingdom whose power was greater than that of Rome became quickly apparent. The kingdom of Messiah expanded rapidly by supernatural power during the first few centuries, while the Roman Empire began to collapse, which is described in the second through fourth seals, as they went through a time of bloody civil wars for the red horse, economic strife representing the black horse, then famine, pestilence, and death, the pale horse. And these are just summaries. I cover all the details of those seals in the Revelation Timeline Decoded video series and book. The first seal set up the narrative of the other prophecies about the historical battle between the Satan-empowered leaders of the Roman beast kingdom fighting against Messiah and his saints. It represents the great city of Rome versus the saints who are called Holy Jerusalem. The war against the saints occurred during the 10 persecution periods of the pagan emperors, from Nero until 312 AD, during the painful birth of Messiah's ecclesia of saints. It occurred during the tortures and killing of tens of millions of saints during the Dark Ages and Inquisition by command of the Antichrist beast popes of Rome. And I realize that what I'm teaching is contrary to the popular futuristic explanations, but what you need to understand is that up until the 19th century, most people believed in the historicist explanation of the prophecies in Revelation. They believe that the prophecies have been in the process of being fulfilled since the first century. But during the last few centuries, the enemy has misled the saints with the false futuristic explanations, which caused them to look at how the prophecies are being fulfilled today. And that serves to deflect blame against the false priest in Rome. Only a few prophecies in Revelation are yet to be fulfilled before our warrior king returns. He warned his saints in the 6th vial that he's returning like a thief in the night. Those who are misled by the false futurist and preterist explanations will be like the foolish virgins with no oil of truth in their lamps, who will be caught off guard by his return. I hope this video serves as a wake-up call and that the Spirit prompts you to consider that you've been misled. I pray that you will pursue truth, not to defend a belief. The 3 Revelation Timeline Fulfillment Summary videos will give you the big picture. The Revelation Timeline Decoded video series and book give a detailed explanation. Please like the video, comment, and share it with others, as this helps get it ranked so that others will see the explanations. Subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified about new videos. That's all for today. Keep pressing on for the glory of our King. I love y'all. Shalom.